Hello and welcome to Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today's latest video summary of the week's news. We start with an exclusive, some very frank comments from Zoopla founder and chief executive Alex Chesterman. Over 30 questions from Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today readers were put to Chesterman, and he provided prompt and forthright responses. So now we know Zoopla will not be levying any penalties on estate agents that return from on the market. The one other portal rule imposed on agents by on the market could be open to legal challenge in the future, and Zoopla will never ever accept private listings from individual sellers or landlords. And Chesterman, one of the most powerful figures in the property and estate agency, also let us know that he's against the proposed restriction on landlords' buy-to-let tax breaks. He's not planning to sell any more of his Zoopla shares, and he prefers location to homes under the hammer. And frankly, don't we all? In other news, the Advertising Standards Authority had a busy week with two prominent cases connected with agency. Firstly, it gave a slap across the wrist to the estate agency review website Rater Agent. The site describes itself as the most trustworthy review site from which the public could judge the quality of estate agents. However, the website allegedly failed to provide evidence of the methodology used by other sites to test the genuineness of their reviews. As a result, it couldn't fairly say it was the most trustworthy. And the ASA also said Redmond Casey Estate Agency was misleading, claiming that 97% of buyers and sellers would recommend us, when in fact it had not gathered evidence to prove that figure when it was being quoted in advertising. There's been a sharp rise in ASA judgments on estate agents in recent months, a sign that the public and business rivals are getting eagle-eyed over what agents and websites claim as they scramble for a share of the property market. Now let's swing to the lettings sector, and there's no sign of the lettings industry anger at proposed buy-to-let tax changes dying down anytime soon. This week, Letting Agent Today covered a well-researched story that originally appeared in the Daily Telegraph, disputing Chancellor George Osborne's figures. In the July budget, Osborne claimed the restriction on tax breaks provided a level playing field between landlords and owner-occupiers. The Telegraph story showed that, in fact, a person owning and living in a house for 25 years would ultimately be far better off than a landlord owning a similar property for the same period. This was because owners don't pay capital gains tax nor tax on their rental income, and of course they will own the property outright after 25 years, which most landlords with interest-only mortgages will not. Still with lettings, the government this week confirmed that it would not be introducing any ban on letting agency fees in England. Such fees are banned in Scotland, and a parliamentary committee had been investigating whether the same policy should be adopted in England. Housing Minister Brandon Lewis made a very forthright statement saying there was no evidence such a ban helps the rental market, so there's no ban in England. And while we're talking about Parliament, we couldn't allow Jeremy Corbyn's spectacular election to Labour leader go without comment. He, perhaps surprisingly, pleased the property industry by elevating the shadow housing minister's role into the shadow cabinet. The new shadow housing minister will in fact be John Healey, who held the role for just under a year during Tony Blair's Prime Minister's. It looks as if the housing will be a prominent policy area for Corbyn's party. We'll hear more of John Healey in the months to come. And finally, a reminder for our landlord and letting agent viewers about the new smoke alarm and carbon monoxide alarm regulations coming into effect in just 2 weeks from now, on October the 1st. Last week, we reported that the House of Lords had voted against the regulations, saying there was too little time to implement them. Well, this week, Parliament voted them through anyway, and as they're designed to make rental property safer, we're giving them our support. But there isn't much time to fit and test alarms. Check Letting Agent Today for our stories about what the new regulations say. That's it for another week. If you want to keep up to date with what's happening in our industry, check in every day to read the news from Estate Agent Today and Letting Agent Today. We carry breaking news every day, and you can subscribe to our email newsletters. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.